Welcome back to another video, and this is my January makeup haul for 2025. Welcome back, and this is my first makeup haul video for this year, and during this year we are changing things up a little bit. So last year I used to do this like between every 2 months. However, the videos are quite long when you pile things from 2 months time. So this year we're going to be doing so that we're going to be doing this bi-monthly, and by doing this bi-monthly I also do hope that it's going to be helping me to keep in track better with my makeup purchases. I do actually have quite a systematic way of how I keep up with how much makeup I have and how much I spend on them. I actually did manage to sort of do better, which was my aim last year, was to spend a little bit less compared to the previous year, and actually did succeed in the goal. But I think this year the aim is to also be even more conscious about how much I do spend on my makeup. And also disclaimer, these are never meant to be anything to brag about my makeup sort of purchases, and if this kind of videos encourage you to buy more makeup, then more things that you can afford, then I would say that skip this kind of video. These are only meant to be for entertainment purposes and for you to just see that what products have come into my collection, what products have gone out with my collection. Second disclaimer, I will be trying to remember it because it's already been like over a month, so some of these products, I think I have reviewed all of these products that are in front of me. But some of these product categories that I end up buying, I have also already decluttered some products. So those were the kind of products that for one reason or another I didn't want to keep them in my collection. So I do try to remember to say which products those were, but I might not remember all of them. So if you have seen me reviewing a product that you're not seeing here, then it's most likely the fact that I have already decluttered the product. But most of these, I think, aside from one product, all of these are drugstore. We have one K-beauty palette, but aside from that, all the rest of these are drugstore products. So let's get to showing you what I got during January. So my makeup purchases during January mainly consisted of the Essence limited edition chocolate collection. Then Catrice had their winter spring update for 2025. And then there was one individual K-beauty palette that I did end up getting. So let's first go with the Essence stuff. So from the chocolate collection, I ended up getting the highlighter and then one of the potted blushes, and aside from those, I did end up getting one of the lip oils. And from these, there should already be a review video available. I can just quickly show. So from the blush was called Love It Choco a lot, and this was a mousse blush that they had. And I did discuss in my review video that this was probably like a prequel to the mousse blushes that they had in, because Essence also recently came out with their spring and winter edit, so this was kind of prequel to that one. Then they did something a bit funky, so they had this Love It Choco highlighter glaze is what this called. So this is a very interesting, it's a gel kind of highlighter. That is why it's looking pretty destroyed, because you can't really apply this with a brush, so you have to go with a finger. And if you want to get a even layer of sort of all the products that are included in this one, you have to then do kind of like have your finger like going all over the product to get a even layer. And then lastly, there was this sort of lip oil. I did discuss that it's a pretty basic lip oil. It looks orange in the tube, but this goes see-through on your lips. Then let's go through the Catrice, and from the Catrice stuff what I have decluttered. I decluttered one of the blushes, so they did have a shade extension to their, I think those are called Air Matte or Air Glow powder blushes. Those have been actually one of my favorite powder blushes, but unfortunately the shade Pink Lemonade, that just didn't work out. I don't know what happened with the formula. I did discuss in my review video that it could be because it's a white based sort of blush shade, that's probably the reason why it didn't work out. Oh, and something that I did forget to mention, I also did have a Milani eyeshadow palette that I tried and reviewed already on my channel, but because I wasn't a fan of the quality, also you're not gonna see the Milani palette in my review here. Oh, sorry, not review, but in this whole video. But what I do still have from the Catrice's spring winter update is this one. So this is the liquid contour. I actually do think that this is one of the like best contour cream liquid contour products that I have tried from Catrice, because I did try one of their contour sticks during last year and I wasn't a fan, but this one I did give this a very positive review, and I did say that if you especially look a more beautiful contour, liquid contour, I would actually go for this one. Then Catrice came out with their version of their sort of a highlighting highlighter stick or foundation stick. I actually didn't want to put a foundation today, so actually today what I have is that I have used this stick underneath And then I actually went over with the concealer that you're gonna soon see. I am not having the best skin day today, but that's because it's very cold outside. I actually was doing some sports outside before filming today, but because it's so frosty currently where I live in, my skin was pretty dry when I applied my makeup. But this is one of those like that if you've been eyeing one of the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter Sticks, I did discuss in my review video that this could maybe be a good dupe to try out. However, I did also make the disclaimer that you really have to like glowy under base products if you're gonna try out this one. Then another favorite from the collection, so they came out with the serum concealer. I have liked Catrice's previous concealers that I've tried from them. It's a pretty how should I say, they're pretty good at doing base products at drugstore prices, especially here in Europe, where a lot of the traditional drugstore brands, especially the US-based one, are actually quite expensive. But this concealer was another hit, and this is something that I actually wore over the sort of like highlighter or a foundation stick, however you want to call it. And yeah, would recommend, especially if you're looking maybe something a bit more lighter coverage. And what I especially like about this one is that it is more buildable concealer that gives a bit of hydration, but it's not a completely glowy kind of concealer that I also can't use because I do still have a bit oily linen skin. So very good concealer, especially maybe for more mature skin. Then one of the lip products, so this was the Lip Artist Matte Lipstick and Liner, so this was a double-sided lip product. I already discussed that I like the lipstick side of this one more compared to the lip liner side, because the lip liner side feels kinda flimsy. It's a orangey nude color. I actually wasn't able, because I bought these products during the launch day that these launched on Boozy Shop, and a lot of products were selling out, so unfortunately I didn't actually get this in the shade that I wanted in. It was more of a berry shade, but actually this sort of orangey neutral shade, this actually looks pretty good on me, and I was pretty happy with the lipstick, but not perhaps one of the more middle-esque products from the sort of spring winter ready. Then something that I was positively surprised about, considering that I wasn't a fan of this palette format from last year when I bought it was Soft Peony or something. So during this launch they had added a dark cocoa palette to their launch. They have had these palettes previously on their line. And I do think so far from the Catrice eyeshadow palettes that I have tried from the brand, and I have tried quite a few, I do think the quality of this one is the best. It is a pretty neutral traditional brown palette, so these shades aren't that hard to formulate. And something that I did say on my review there is that the shimmers look actually much more sparklier in the pan than they actually end up looking on the eyes. But if you're looking for good basic neutral palettes from drugstore, I would actually go for this one, because I do think that the quality of eyeshadows is like the best that Catrice has so far done. Then the sort of last palette, so Romand Tinted Expand, because I know they have had this if you have sort of looked to YesStyle, but Our Country finally got more of the Romand palette, so it was like an extension of the lines to our retailers, but you have been able to buy this online. So one of the palettes that I ended up getting, so this was the Better Than palette 07 Berry Fuchsia Garden, and I have gotten I think it's 03 Pampas Garden is what I have from previously from this line. It's a more orangey leaning, but I was pretty happy that we finally got a more sort of pink mauvish leaning, and this is how the palette is looking. And I do think that compared to I already discussed, this was in my collective eyeshadow palette review video that's already up on my channel. I think what is gonna happen with my next eyeshadow palette declutter is that I'm gonna get rid of the Pampas Garden palette, purely because it's pretty one tone. There's not a lot you can do with that one, but this one actually has to, even though it is a purple mauvish palette, but there is actually a couple of like more things you can do with this one. And also I do like the fact that this has a good gradient from light to deep shades. Still not fan of the like adhesive purple glitter shade, but I have always said that if you're gonna do glitter, at least do it this way where you don't need a glitter glue. And the glitter does look nice when you get it to the eyes. You have to be just a bit careful when you take it off. But that's the sort of last track we have for this whole video. But I do think, surprisingly, I think from the eyeshadows that I did cut during the January, because aside from this one, as I said, there was the Milani palette that I ended up decluttering, then I do think the Catrice palette was also nice, but at the end of the day, the Catrice palette is still pretty like a basic, how should I say, basic brown palette, and also the shimmers were maybe a bit disappointing compared to how they looked swatched out. So I do think from the eyeshadow palettes I got during January, this is actually my favorite one, because the tones of it, and actually that it was quite more versatile than what I expected. But yeah, those were actually all the products that I had for the January. So that was my haul. I do think from January, like I usually try to sort of like sort of slow down with my spending during January, because usually during December, because December and November are usually a bit more like months that I spend more, because usually there's Black Friday, and of course there's also like I usually get something makeup for my Christmas gift. So that is why usually during January I do try to maybe a bit more like look for more like inexpensive things. And I do have to say, like in terms of drugstore makeup, while not all of the drugstore things were my favorite, I do still think that actually the January haul shows that you can get a pretty good makeup at a more affordable price. You definitely don't have to spend sort of high-end prices to get good products. Already from the February haul, I can tell we're going to be having more drugstore, and also there's going to be some indie palettes, because during February, February Monolith had their first launch, so be prepared that when I'm going to be filming with the February stuff, there's going to be more drugstore, but we're also going to be seeing the first new indie palettes in my collection for this year. Comment down below what kind of makeup products have you been buying, or if you've been on a no buy or a low buy. And if you are on a no buy or low buy, tell me how that's going for you. If you like this video, push the like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell button if you want to get notifications from future content. You can also find me with the same nickname, Makeup Hedgehog, on Instagram. I hope I can see you soon in a video. Bye bye!